Thank you once again for joining us today at Eastern News 24. I said by Kankonye Chikwero. Yes, Lokwa. All right, Kabop News of Tenya Bozi, Ajimake Webeni Rapupo. Still on the matter on hashtag Freeman Nnamdi Kanu and the end injustice against Indibo now. Pay attention to this video. All the very important. Yes, all the very important. Diki Yegesia Bifekabalo, or when Nuki folk would do Akukom Machoka, Kaine and Antinkai. Eyota. So dịka anyị egi ya oweri field eme kabalụ tekie Blake gee ya bụ vidio anụ anyị wetara unu dịka ihe ga-esi ya kabalụ ka idere na akara kọmentị ife ichere ụdị nke gị and tụsakwa ya bụ ozi. Over to you, sir.
Let's begin with the storm that has started it all. When Mercy meets power, who really benefits? Justice or politics? So, SOWORE, let me start with you. What's your take on the shocking names included in the president's pardon list, while Nnamdi Kanu's name was left out? What does that say about justice, morality, and the government's priorities?
Well, thank you for having me. I am not here to plead for pardon for Nnamdi Kanu. The president pardoned people who were convicted of various degrees of crimes. I don't have any idea how and why he pardoned them, but if you look at the people who are pardoned, you discover that there has been some kind of proximity or relationships that facilitated their pardon, especially when you look at the 53 persons who were pardoned who are drug dealers, and you have a murderer. You see a lot of political influence over the pardon, or maybe business-related influence or linkage. In terms of Nnamdi Kanu was not convicted of a crime. He has been in and out of detention over the last 10 years, simply because he started a radio program known as Radio Biafra, where he began talking about the liberation of the people of the Southeast under Biafra. And that was where his problem started. He was granted bail, left Nigeria, and they went to Kenya, abducted him, an extraordinary rendition him back to Nigeria. The day he was returned to Nigeria, I was in court at the Federal High Court. He was brought hooded, beaten, tortured, and they quickly rushed him back to the DSS after he appeared briefly before a judge, before we could even get to the courtroom. But the case has gone all the way to the Supreme Court. The Court of Appeal courageously decided that having been extraordinarily renditioned, there's no way trial can stand, and the judge had acquitted him. So the Supreme Court also said that he did not violate his bail. So Nnamdi Kanu, in my view, has not committed any crime that requires him being pardoned by the president. What the president should do, and what we've asked the federal government of Nigeria to do, the Nigerian state to do, is to discontinue this sham trial, because apparently there was no crime, and you can't sustain a trial when there's no crime established. He's been tried under what they call the Terrorism Act, or is it the Terrorism Prevention Act. I've been detained for 45 days under that act before. It is used to suppress people, likely, who are opposed to government. Treason is also something I've been subjected to. I was kept in this country for 5 years. What I'm saying basically is that when I see a sham trial, I know it because I get subjected to one at least an average of 3 times per year. So I'm just saying to Nigerians that we should not compare Kanu's situation with those who actually committed crimes. They were tried and sentenced to different prison terms, and then the president decided to pardon them, maybe because some of them are his friends or members of his community, we don't know, but because now they say they are reviewing this particular pardon, which shows to you that there's something wrong with the whole process in the first place. I've also heard that some of the pardon were influenced by corruption. People paid heavily to the officials who are involved to help recommend them for pardon. I don't know what's happening, but we know that this pardon has been put in abeyance as we speak now.
Okay.
But I just want to make it clear once again that I am not here to plead for pardon for Nnamdi Kanu, no.
Okay.
Or
Thank
clemency, anything like that, no.
Okay. Thank you very much, SOWORE. So can we get to Maxwell, please? Now, Maxwell, even with the president's constitutional power of clemency, should mercy ever be granted without consulting victims' family first or the Council of States? What safeguards should exist to ensure compassion doesn't trample justice?
Okay, I want to start by saying that once an offense is being committed, a criminal offense is being committed, the offense is not committed against the nominal complainant. In this case, using Mariam Sandra as an instance, the offense is not committed against the victim's family, that is the husband's family. The offense is not even committed against the husband, that's the disease. The offense is against the state. Having established that, now consulting the family before you grant pardon is uncalled for, because in the first instance the family don't even have the right, just like where somebody raped somebody, a minor. Now you cannot, the father of the rape victim cannot say no, I don't want case again. No, because the offense is against the state. Having established that, now the power to grant pardon is given to the president under section 175. But people are getting it wrong. One, whatever decision the president is going to take, the president must take it in line with the will of the people, because the president derives his own power from the constitution, whereas the constitution derives its own power from the people. So the people are number one. If you are given an authority to grant pardon, you must grant it judiciously, in line with the conscience of the people, not abusing it, not using it as an epitome of fraud, just like as we saw. Now, give this instance: a lady called Mary Bahagu in Suleja prison was having an altercation with somebody, and she killed a person in the course of their conflict, and she was convicted and sentenced to life jail. She has spent over 25 years there in Suleja prison, over 25 years there in Suleja prison. Now, another person intentionally killed the husband.
Yeah, Miriam Sandra.
And that person now was sentenced to death by hanging. And he has spent less than 3 years. And the matter is still in court. That is another fundamental issue we have to interrogate. The matter is still in court. Now the president now exercises the power, granting this one that has to do with the murder by hanging pardon, and left to the other one that has her own is Maxwell life jail, that has spent 25 years, and left that one. So you now see that this one must have paid money and this one did not pay money. That one is one. Then secondly, this one is the matter that is in court. You don't grant pardon in a matter that is in court. You allow the court to finish its course, because the lady Miriam has appealed against the judgment from Court of Appeal to Supreme Court. If you want to grant pardon, you will now ask him to withdraw ask her to withdraw the matter first, because she is the appellant. If she withdraw the matter first, it then means that particular condition or sentence is not standing. You cannot exercise your power towards that. So the entire, thank God that the Attorney General, in order to protect the interests of the government and the president, told us that they are still reviewing it. Whichever name you are calling, you call it. Nigerians are saying that you have abused it and you cannot, that one will not stand. So because we know that once the president exercises that power after the consultation of Council of State, it will stand. Now that Attorney General has said no, we still need to review it. Whichever way, the president, he has the knife, he has the yam. He should take decision.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's get to Dixon in the house. Now, Dixon, from a security standpoint, you've heard what both guests have said about this pardon that was given. But does it expose the state as weak and inconsistent when you see things like this happen in this fight against security?
Fantastic question. You see, most times we fail to understand that this act from the government is positioning us as a failed state. You understand? A state without powers, a state that is not effective, a state that looks vulnerable before the hands of these criminal elements, because we have a lot of people that have been killed by this criminal element, and some of them, are waiting for restorative justice, and it's also an abuse on restorative justice, because those who were killed in actions, our officers, our men, our soldiers, who sworn to protect the territorial integrity of Nigeria, and their killers have been pardoned. I tell you, it's highly demoralizing. And these terrorists killed soldiers, officers, and men. I will speak from a soldier point of view and also from a security perspective point of view. I personally know over 100 soldiers, my classmates, that were killed by Boko Haram. I also know over 200 people, personally, I can name, that were killed by these terrorists. And when I see these terrorists be pardoned by the state government, I don't know who advised the government to do this. If I see them be pardoned, I feel bothered, I feel pained, I feel worried, because Nigeria is treading on a part is treading on a dangerous path, because crime and punishment works hand in hand. The whole essence of punishment is for you to, it's not just to destroy.
Must match each other.
Exactly, crime and punishment works hand in hand, because if you pardon these guys who kill our officers and men, it's going to demoralize our officers and men in the battlefield. As we speak here, we have soldiers chasing terrorists in the front line, some of them in the bushes, some of them in the east, west, south, and north. And at the end of the day, they tune into their television and they discover that those who kill their colleagues were being pardoned. It's families highly demoralizing. And we have widows and widows in the base who lost their husband and wife. When they see this on television, they will say, hey, Nigeria has failed them.
So
this state has failed them.
Why do you think we're dealing with this convicts and murderers and whatever from a position of weakness? Why do we come across like that?
For me, I'm also surprised. If you ask me, I will ask you too, because for me, I think maybe the government was ill-advised. The former president of blessed memory, General Buhari, adopted.
Buhari is still alive. It's not of blessed memory.
Oh, I thought it's passed. General Muhammad Buhari.
He's still very much alive. Oh, he's passed. Sorry. Of course he has passed. Of course he has passed.
So,
sorry, yes.
Yes. So he activated the Safe Haven, Operation Safe Corridor. And that corridor was a methodology which they used to, pardon criminals or terrorists, and they classified them as repentant terrorists. And I find it very, very disgusting for you to classify them as repentant terrorists after shedding blood. Human lives or anything that has to do with human lives is beyond you and I. If you cannot create, you cannot pardon. If you cannot form, you cannot pardon. What does not belong to you, you don't have the capability and capacity to pardon. So those who died in action, how do we speak to their family? And how do we motivate the present soldiers in the battlefield to keep on fighting? Because the government have to apologize to the Nigerian military and the Nigerian soldiers for this action, because it's very, very wrong.
Yes. Do you think President Muhammad Buhari of blessed memory, as a soldier, would have passed this kind of pardon?
Well, I think he can, because
being a soldier,
I think he can, because
consequences.
A lot of people were disappointed in his action. Even the Operation Safe Corridor he approved was wrong. It's very, very wrong, because whatever that has to do with terrorism, you need to go before them with speed. You need to hit them very hard and ensure from the east, west, south, and north there is no hiding place. If you keep pardoning these guys, what that entails is that in nearest time, other terrorist group will form up and say, hey, Nigerian is not ready for actions. We can go and later seek for pardon. So for me, crime and punishment works hand in hand, and we must punish those who commit crime against the Nigerian state.
Okay. Now to the man at the center of the fresh agitation, Nnamdi Kanu. His continued detention has sparked renewed outrage and mobilized citizens for nationwide protests. So, Mr. SOWORE, you've announced a Free Nnamdi Now protest march next week to demand Kanu's release. Yet, you've also said you're opening to dialogue with the government. So how do you respond to those who say working with the same system you oppose weakens your credibility as an activist?
Well, I don't think I said I'm going to be involved in dialogue with the government. That's not true. I said I am willing to bring in people of good conscience to work to ensure that Nnamdi Kanu was freed from this unwarranted and unjust prolonged and protracted sham trial. So I have not gone near any government house. I have not asked any government person except to reach out to state governors from the southeast. Some of them I know personally, people like Soludo, I know Alex Otti, I think. So those two people I know. I know Peter Obi. I have met him several times, and the only person you might say I disagree with in the past was the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, who requested that we meet when I reached out to him, and I went to him, and the business of the day was very clear. Can you ensure that justice is done in this matter? And he did promise that he would take it up with the president whenever they meet. And I reached out to former President Abubakar Atiku. He issued a statement whenever I met him, President. So I did not approach the federal government, but I had already made a caveat before this that I was willing to put aside some of my position on this matter to have more people join this cause. That is not compromise, that's leadership.
Okay, thank you very much. Can we have Maxwell back in the house, please? Can we have Maxwell back in the house? So Maxwell, some argue that Tinubu's refusal to release... Okay. Some argue that Tinubu's refusal to release Kanu while freeing others risks deepening ethnic resentment and widening the trust gap between the Southeast and the federal government. Do you share this concern?
Of course, the president has violated Section 42 of the Constitution, and in violation of that Section 42, which talks about discrimination, and Nnamdi Kanu has been discriminated as a result of his tribe. I said it and I continue to say it anytime, any day. Nnamdi Kanu is in detention today. It's not because he committed any crime. Of course, everybody knows the reason why Nnamdi Kanu was arrested. When Nnamdi Kanu was arrested, they want to stop people from exercising their right of agitation. So you can now see that if you want to start agitating for your own republic in Nigeria, when you remember Nnamdi Kanu, you will not do it again. That is what they want to do. It's not as if that Nnamdi Kanu committed a crime. That one is that. Then two, violation of his right, just like you said, under the Constitution, they said nobody can be discriminated against in Nigeria as a result of his tribe, place, sex, or whatever thing. But you know, if you watch, you discover that it's very obvious that Nnamdi Kanu is being discriminated against. There are some people, when the president discovered that their charge is frivolous, they directed Attorney General to withdraw their charges. Now, Nnamdi Kanu never committed any crime. Thank God that the president, the federal government has opened up their defense and closed their case. And the whole world have seen that this is just an act of embarrassing the federal government of Nigeria. Where you say that somebody committed a crime, you did not, out of terrorism, you did not produce one person who said that I was the person that committed this crime, and I committed it because of the comments made by Nnamdi Kanu or sponsored by Nnamdi Kanu. What did you tender in court? You tendered perfume, his boxers, the microphone you got from his hotel room, his singlet. These are the things that you used to embarrass. So now we are not saying that. Now that is like this. You have also committed another heinous offense that embarrasses this country by directing the police and the military to go and negotiate and discuss with non-terrorists, and they came to the meeting with their ammunition in that meeting. And the person who never committed anything, you allow him to languish himself. Where your own court of appeal have said that this man never committed any crime and you should release him forthwith. You refuse to comply with that judgment. Court of appeal, Enugu State High Court, and the other State High Court, Federal Court has also given their own judgment and awarded 1 billion naira against federal government in favor of Nnamdi Kanu. Kenya people also say that what Kenya did was wrong. And awarded costs in favor of Nnamdi Kanu against Kenya government. Now, International Human Rights Committee also came up with their own decision. Now, what are you still doing with this trial? And some people said first trial. First trial for what? Can you play something on nothing and expect it to stand? So, and this thing is also generating more problem. And we said no, there is every need. People should come out to speak. Because one, it is Nnamdi Kanu's today. It can be another person tomorrow. And you cannot be discriminating and you say one Nigeria. You say that the unity of this country is not negotiable, and you are the person that is dividing the country by your actions and inactions. So what we are now asking is that Nnamdi Kanu trial is uncalled for, and the president has also discriminated against Nnamdi Kanu on violating Section 42 of the 1999 Constitution, where the Supreme Court has also decided both Bojiko and some other cases.
Okay. Let's get back to Dixon. Thank you, Maxwell. Let's get back to Dixon. So what tactical and psychological steps should security agencies take this time around to prevent escalation when it comes to the protests from the protesters and civil unrest? Anything to avoid NSAS?
The NSAS issue was mismanaged, was not well managed.
So what can be done now that they didn't do then?
Exactly. What can be done now, with not even now, even as time goes on or time to come, is that the military and the security agencies must understand that the use of force must always be the last resort. You can't stop people from protesting. I think it's their own civil right to protest, peaceful protest, not negative protest that is going to bring down the state, which objective is to bring down the state. The whole essence of protest is to send message back to the government that they are not impressed with what is happening, the economic situation, the security situation, or whatever the case may be. And when these guys come out to protest, give them protection from the tactical perspective, ensure they are well protected. If any gray area or any area you identify as a risk area or possibly a crime-prone area during the protest, because most times some people want to, capture the protest and, result to crime. So what you do is to, first of all, ensure you carry out an effective risk mapping within that given environment and project reasonably security force while you protect those protesters that are coming out to tell the government, hey, they are not happy with what is happening. And also the government or the security agent must ensure that the use of force must always be the last resort, because in crisis management or civil unrest management or providing security in any given situation, the use of force must always be the last resort. You need to follow the continuum of crisis management. First of all, you try to de-escalate. I've been trying to de-escalate. You try other measures and ensure that you also have water cannon or rubber bullets, not live bullets going into the enemy, the people's den and start shooting live bullets. That is even an abuse on the state itself, because you don't kill the people you want to protect. So if we want to get it right, we must ensure that our security agents are trained on crisis management as well.
About the training.
Training is very important as well. Don't just give them the gun or just go to the barrack or the police point and just pick some officers and say, go for crowd disperser. Crowd disperser is a technique, and everyone that is going to be pushed or used for crowd disperser must be trained on management of crowd disperser. You understand? Understand the types of crowd. Are they spectative crowd? Are they hostile crowd? Before you can even apply the use of force, you must ensure they are hostile crowd. But if they are accusative crowd or expressive crowd, like those that are going up for protest, which is classified as expressive crowd, you don't shoot at them. What you do, you protect them. Then from the psychological perspective, you need to also learn to communicate with these guys and also ensure you have drone cameras within that given environment to tell them that they are being watched, because the whole essence of camera or drone cameras or surveillance camera is a form of psychological deterrence to inform them that they are being watched, and whoever commits a crime will be fetched out among the crowd and
I hope that will be prosecuted. So behind every act of mercy lies politics, and every political decision comes with consequences. This one may shape how the nation remembers Tinubu's presidency. So SOWORE, let me ask you, if Tinubu releases Kanu today, would it be seen as an act of statesmanship and reconciliation, or a calculated political move to win South-East support ahead of 2027?
It doesn't matter. Everybody who's spoken on this matter have taken some form of position. Our position is that we have detected, we have ascertained that there's a sham trial going on. All Tinubu needs to do is to call his Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, to ask him to file a nolle he nullifies, he nulli prosecutes a word for discontinuation of a criminal trial. I'm not a lawyer, so I may not have pronounced it properly. And if they do that, it ends all of this. It is up to the public to decide how they judge him, whether it's a calculated political move, whether it is statesmanship or eldership. That's not my issue. My issue is that an injustice is being perpetrated. You are called upon as the head of state, as the president of the country, officially, to stop the injustice that is being perpetrated against a citizen of Nigeria. You see, some of us who have been around for a while, we know this tactic. It happened to Abiola after he won his election in 1993. It was the same strategy. Oh, anytime people say release Abiola, they say he's in court. Meanwhile, they discontinued or disabled the Supreme Court. When? What? Can you repeat the question again? All right. So they did it to Abiola. Anytime we ask for Abiola's release, oh, it's being handled by the Court of Appeal. It's being handled by and then completely after a while, the courts never sat because there was no case. Abiola was also accused of treason. They kept him postponing, they kept blackballing, blackmailing, and gaslighting the public until Abiola died in detention. They claimed that they were supposed to release Abiola the next day, and he died in detention. Anybody who saw Nnamdi Kanu on October 16 in court, you know that this man is very, very ill. I don't want to use the word gravely ill. And there's been this whole claim that the Nigeria Medical Association said that they have conducted tests on him, he can stand trial. The DSS has an hospital. I've been to DSS hospital before. It's on the way to the airport. They cannot treat a cat successfully there. It's just a bunch of beds and some equipments that cannot handle complicated medical issues. We are not even asking that Nnamdi Kanu be taken out of the country. Let's take him to a proper hospital where he can treat himself. But there is no, we are not even asking for him to be released on those grounds, but for the trial to be discontinued, and then he can rejoin his family and live his normal life. Okay. Which Nigeria should stop becoming a nation state that treats its innocent as criminals and treats its criminals as innocent. That's the problem we are facing here. So all the arguments you hear that this is in court, this is in court, the people who are making those arguments themselves don't want to go to a Nigerian court for trial for anything.
Thank you so much, Omoyele SOWORE. We're going on a break right now. Don't go anywhere. Grab your cup of tea, as I always say, and see you right back on Perspectives.
With pride as we gather tonight to celebrate the 2025 Icon Gala honorees.
Being an icon is about service. It's about resilience and leaving space for others to rise. I accept this award not just for myself, but for every single African and diasporic creative daring to dream big.
We are the libraries they tried to burn.
Lifetime achievement.
Africa is not just the future, but Africa is right now.
And let us be OON, the trailblazing Managing Director and CEO of Fidelity Bank PLC.
We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
Good evening and welcome to the greatest show on earth.
This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one.
Ebumone gente. Edaluli ne nkunu siwe na nunum obosi nketa na Eastern News 24. Beba isiwere weteru nyabu nnukwu ozi gbasata maka ya bife na-emenu. Ka efi were ikwu gbasata maka ya bife ndị a wetere n'ụbọchị nketa n'iru akwụkwọ. Ka emesịa.